my own horn, and I know that I'm setting myself up for probably disappointment later tonight, but I hope you were with us last week on the Final Five, because we almost swept the board. We had 2 out of 3 on the power play points with Reinhart and Matthews. We hit the goal scorer line A. We hit the side with Washington. We hit the total with the over in Toronto and Buffalo. So we had a really good Final Five last week, and I'm hoping that we can now ride that wave.
Only on SportsGrid.
50 points in a fourth quarter for the Atlanta Hawks. What is going on? It's like circus numbers. What are we doing?
And we sound like two old heads complaining. It's a tough watch. It's a tough watch sometimes. I don't mind the shooting. I just know the numbers. When you strictly look at it from the numbers in betting, it's getting really hard to bet.
GameTime Decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America. And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The NBA will take center stage once football stops, and people will watch the NBA playoffs and all that. But the standings are whacked out in the Western Conference. Like Oklahoma City, Memphis, and the Houston Rockets are the best teams in the conference.
You want to talk about a team with overs and no defense? The Wizards are your team. It's unbelievable. They can't make a total high enough. It's nuts.
Sports Rage tonight. Weeknights 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome in a very happy Thursday, a semifinal Thursday, in fact, as we get ready just about an hour and 28 minutes or so, and we will have at least our first entry into the national championship game in college football as the Orange Bowl getting ready to take off here tonight in Miami, as Notre Dame and Penn State will do battle. And, of course, the winner of this game advances to that national championship game to take on the winner of the Cotton Bowl tomorrow, which will be Ohio State taking on the University of Texas. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by on this very special edition of Game Time Decisions. We'll get you ready right up until we pass it off, of course, to the college football crew, who will have you and everything you need to know about the game during the game. That is coming up at 7:30 Eastern time. But we've got plenty else going on around the sports betting landscape, including a loaded card in college hoops here tonight. Couple of games getting ready to tip off right now, featuring, well, some pretty big matchups, especially when it comes to conference play, as Oregon right now on the road taking on Ohio State. That game has just tipped off here, and Oregon closed as an underdog in this one, right around 2.5 or 3 in that matchup. We also have Rutgers taking on Purdue, number 20, Purdue, number 15, Oregon. These are all top 25 teams in action tonight at the Rack. I'm not even sure if they call it the Rack anymore. It might be some sort of Dunkin' Donuts building. But Rutgers at home, trying to put it together. Entirely too much talent on this Rutgers team to be as bad as they have been. But they're going to look to hold serve against a Purdue team that finally looks like they're starting to hit their stride. And then coming up, 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight. How about Washington taking on Mr. Izzo, Coach Izzo, and number 16, Michigan State, who has been, well, putting it together here as they sit 12-2 on the year, 3-0 in Big Ten play. They've got a 7-game winning streak on the line, and they are going to welcome in the conference newcomer to the Big Ten, the University of Washington. Not exactly great, Washington this year. 10-5, but only 1-3 in Big Ten play. That game is in East Lansing, Michigan. So we'll see what we're going to get from Washington. But the Pac-12 teams of old have been in for a little rude awakening here over the last couple of weeks as they start taking on some of the bigger, tougher, more physical Big Ten teams. We saw it again last night as USC got pushed around in the second half against Indiana. Will we see that continue here with Washington kind of getting bullied by Michigan State? We shall see, but Michigan State a big 14-point favorite in that matchup. That is a ton of points there. And then, of course, we got a loaded NBA slate here tonight, and fresh off of their big win last night against the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Cleveland Cavaliers will find themselves back on the court here tonight, taking on the lowly Toronto Raptors, sitting with just 8 wins on the season. It is no wonder why the numbers are appearing at what they are on your screen right now, as the Cavs are laying 2 touchdowns, minus 1,000 on the money line. Yikes. 234.5 right now is what we're seeing. And that looks like it's being bet down here a little bit. Hey, if there's, I don't know that I'd expect a letdown from this Cleveland Cavaliers team now. 19-1 at home after that win last night against the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are absolutely rolling, and I do not believe the Toronto Raptors are going to catch the Cavs sleeping in any way, shape, or form. Speaking of red hot, how about a Detroit Pistons team getting ready to take on the Golden State Warriors? And I know it's crazy to talk about the Detroit Pistons as some sort of quality basketball, but wow. I got to tell you, they've won 8 of their last 11 games. They are actually, with all of that youth on that team and keeping Cade Cunningham healthy, has certainly gone a long way into helping this team actually come into their own. And in the meantime, the Golden State Warriors just struggling, trying to figure some things out here. They look a lot more like a lottery team than anything else right now. It doesn't look like they have one of the greatest players in the world there in Steph Curry on that team, but it's been rough. They have dropped to just about 500 as they take on this Pistons team here tonight. The Miami Heat, who have all sorts of issues, went into their place and beat them in the last game. They have not hit 100 points in a game. In a few. It's been a little while here. They only scored 99 to Sacramento on Sunday. They only scored 98 with Miami on Tuesday. It has been a rough stretch here for the Golden State Warriors, but that's not stopping the market from making them the favorite here tonight. Golden State laying a couple of points here on the road to Detroit, and you got to be very brave to trust this Detroit Pistons team, or I'm sorry, this Golden State Warriors team right now, as there is not a whole lot separating them and the Detroit Pistons. And believe it or not, Detroit has one more win on the season than the Warriors do. Other big news coming in tonight in the NBA, the Minnesota Timberwolves are back at it. They've put a couple of big wins together as they continue to try to find some sort of consistency offensively on this season. And it appears that their most recent answer to offense is just let Edwards take as many shots and score as many points as humanly possible, which would give us the best chance to win. The problem is they're on the road in Orlando taking on the Magic, who were hoping to have Paolo Banchero back tonight, but it doesn't look like that is going to happen as he has been ruled out. Good news is they are saying in all likelihood tomorrow night he will be back on the court for the Orlando Magic, who might also be getting Franz Wagner back here, hoping to get Jalen Suggs back. So reinforcements are coming for Orlando, who somehow, despite every injury to every main player on that team, they sit 22-16 on the season. They have a better record than the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they haven't had their full complement of stars yet this season all play in a game. So Anthony Edwards looking to continue this hot run. Don't know if the Orlando Magic are going to allow him to do that, as we're going to find out top of next hour here. And the money keeps rolling in on Minnesota, now a 6-point road favorite against this tough Orlando Magic team. So those are just a couple of the games we're going to be looking at, not to mention a monster slate in the NHL here tonight. A lot of great matchups here. We're going to talk some NHL. We're going to come up with a couple of best bets for you, as we've got a lot, and I mean a lot, happening as we get ready for the kickoff in the Orange Bowl. Notre Dame taking on Penn State, the first semifinal of the college football playoff. It's almost here. We'll have a lot more to say about that as Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Two guys that can do it all. Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week-to-week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards.
That was
thinking! But he had that program was only going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Network. I'm Joe Raineri, getting ready, of course, for the college football playoff semifinal coming your way next hour. In fact, 7:30 Eastern time, the kick at the Orange Bowl set to take place between Penn State and Notre Dame. We'll have much more on that game coming up, but we don't want to ignore all the other action tonight, not only on the hardwood, but let's not forget on the ice, as the NHL is in full swing here tonight. Plenty of games getting ready with the puck drop coming up top of the hour. Joe Madden stepping in here to help us navigate the schedule tonight. And Joe, will start in Tampa, where the Lightning are holding tough, but so are the Bruins here tonight. Interesting price on the Lightning at home. Interesting total as well. What do you think we're going to get here with the Bruins and the Lightning tonight?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting one, Joe. I would have expected the Tampa Bay Lightning to be a bigger favorite coming into this one against a Boston Bruins team that has lost their last four. But the Bruins coming off that loss to Edmonton, you know they're going to put their best foot forward, getting shut out in that last game. I think this is going to come down to whose goaltender I can trust more, and it's Andrei Vasilevskiy in goal here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. You look at Swayman, and ever since getting paid this season, he just hasn't looked like the goaltender we all expected. So I'm going to look for a Tampa Bay Lightning team that has been struggling to put the goals up on the board, to come out strong in that first period on their own home ice. They're coming off a nice win versus the Carolina Hurricanes, should have confidence in this one. So give me the Tampa Bay Lightning on the puck line in the first period. We're getting great plus money at plus 154 with that. And these teams do trend to that under. I'd expect Boston to try to lock down on that defensive side. They have to give Swayman the support. If they can do so, I think Tampa wins this, but in a lower scoring game.
Yeah, I don't know. Boston is just a very strange team here. A lot of drama, shockingly, with the Boston Bruins, and now they got to go on the road. It's not been a great stretch at all for them. It's been a great stretch for the Oilers tonight. Have been one of the league's, of course, best teams. That should shock nobody, Joe. What have they won? 4 straight, 10 of their last 15. They've scored 4 or more goals, I think, in 3 of their last 4 games. They're kind of rolling here. And now they get to take on Pittsburgh. So any chance for Pittsburgh to keep this thing close?
Hey, you know what? If they are going to keep it close, they've got to come out strong in this first period. We know the Edmonton Oilers love to get up fast in these games and then lock down on the defensive side of things. But the Pittsburgh Penguins, we've seen with goaltending, with defensive issues, it's their style as well. They need to get up in that first period and then try to hold that lead. It's been very unsuccessful for the Pittsburgh Penguins to be able to do so. But I'm looking here at the Oilers and trying to find a way to bet this team. They've won their last 4. The Penguins have lost their last 4. And the last time these teams played, well, we saw Edmonton get the shutout win. Looking at this matchup, I think Sidney Crosby and Malkin will come out nice and strong on their home ice to start this game. I'm going to look at the first period. I think both teams can score in the first period, Joe. That's coming in at plus 158. I'm looking for that plus money. Then I want to get the heck out of Dodge of this game because the Penguins are in desperation mode. They're sitting a couple points outside of a wild card spot, and you know they're hungry. And when you put Sidney Crosby in these situations, he can be dangerous out there. And if the Edmonton Oilers roll in a little fat and sassy in this one, they could be up against a battle here with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, no, they absolutely can. There's a couple of games here. I don't know. The Kraken are a favorite on the road. Yes, they're taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets, but now Seattle, I believe, has done pretty well between these two teams over the last couple of seasons here. In fact, I think they've won the last 5 meetings against them, but I mean, the Kraken have lost 3 straight overall, have they not? And the Jackets have won 6 of their last 9. So it feels like 2 teams going in 2 totally different directions, Joe.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And you look at the Kraken as a favorite, and this is why I have such a struggle betting this team. They've lost their last 3, like you said, but also their last 5 in that favorite situation. So not a team that I love getting behind. Now, Joey Decord has looked pretty solid between the pipes, but we look over here at Elvis coming in for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and we look at the Columbus Blue Jackets at home. I love what we've seen out of them at home, that home record 13-5-3 on the season. I'm looking for them to really step up. Now, I've heard Monahan won't be in the lineup, which is a huge detriment to this team not having him, but there's no way I can lay juice on a Seattle Kraken team on the road in this situation. This team hasn't been scoring. They've been held to 2.74 goals in 60 minutes over the season. I just can't get behind them. So give me the plus money with Columbus. I definitely think it's worth a shot here against a Kraken team that, you're right, lost their last 3 off the loss to the Devils. I just can't get behind them, Joe.
So I can't believe it. I had to look, Joe. Ottawa apparently does play games at home. You wouldn't know it since they've spent the last 23 days playing 9 games all over the country here. And now they're taking on a Buffalo team. What are we doing in this one? Do we trust the home team or taking the plus money?
Well, the league has given the Ottawa Senators the worst schedule ever because, like you said, 9 games out there on the road, Joe. They come home for this game, and then guess what? Saturday, they're back out on the road in Seattle. So it's like a big middle finger to this team. I'm trying to understand really what they did to deserve this. They should have had a home stance here. And now we look at them taking on an Ottawa Senators team that has, the Ottawa Senators losing their last 3, having those struggles out there on the road. Now taking on a Buffalo Sabres team that hasn't been great over their last 10, going 4-5-1. They're off the win versus the Capitals, though. That was a huge win. They're able to get a shootout win of 4-3. I'm looking at both of these teams to come out strong in the first period. We got Brady Tags Thompson. I think we get both teams scoring in the first period in this one. I think it has some value, and I think you look at the over. This game has a total of 5.5. It's too low for me. I think defenses have those laps. Forsberg in net tonight for Ottawa. Give me the over 5.5.
Ooh, all right. I like the over there. All right. When we come back, Joe, a couple of the games that I want to get to, including it's just hilarious watching this fall of this New York Rangers team. They're at home taking on the Devils tonight, and they're plus money, which is also hilarious at this particular point. But there's a few other very interesting matchups here tonight a little bit later, including the Avalanche taking on the Wild. I want to get your thoughts on that, as well as the Hurricanes in a big battle against Toronto. So we got much more on the ice to go with. We'll talk to Joe Madden as Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid.
Jimmy Butler wants to leave because Jimmy Butler knows that Riles isn't going to pay him, and he wants to get paid. Simply put, if they would have given Jimmy Butler this contract extension in the summer when he asked, this wouldn't be happening. But Riles did it, and Riles wanted him to play. So now he's disgruntled because he wants out.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. Just 3 games left in this historic college football season. Thursday, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is definitely one of the top teams in the nation.
Clash with Penn State. Friday, Ohio State looks to slow down the Horns, with the Buckeyes favored to top Texas.
You know what I see? 2 similar plays. Jackpot. Cherry. For a big man.
Follow along for every play and every bet with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in here. Game Time Decisions on a very special Thursday night edition as we're getting ready, of course, for the, first half of a national championship appearance. The Orange Bowl getting ready to take center stage in just about an hour from now Penn State and Notre Dame going at it. But first, a lot of other stuff going on. It would be a good time to take a look here and learn a little bit about the Sports Millions Pick'em for the games coming up, not just tonight, but this week with our good friend Joe Madden and Tom Vecchio. What do you guys got for us?
Okay, Tom, let's get into our Sports Millions picks. Now, yesterday we looked ahead to some football games, and I know we're going to do the same thing here. I'm looking ahead to the Cotton Bowl, and I know you're looking ahead to the matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. So why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers, Ravens, AFC North matchup, classic matchup, playing for the third time this season. And I want to go to Pat Freiermuth. I actually want to go lower than 4.5 receptions. You know, we see the Steelers as big underdogs in this game. And for me, the way the Steelers stay in this game is probably getting the ball to Najee Harris and controlling the clock, keeping things as simple as possible. But when they do go to pass the ball, they really need to get George Pickens going. Like, he is their deep ball threat. He's what opens up the rest of their offense. And we've seen their offense struggle a lot over the past few weeks. So it's going to be a ground game to start, and then it's going to be George Pickens predominantly when it goes to the air. So that means Pat Freiermuth lower than 4.5 receptions. I just don't expect him to play a massive role. Yes, he'll see a few targets, he'll see a few catches, but Calvin Austin's going to be involved, maybe even Mike Williams, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to see Jalen Warren coming out of the backfield. I just don't expect a massive role for Pat Freiermuth in this game, so ultimately lower than 4.5 receptions. What do you got for college?
Okay, I love that you're rolling with a lower in that one for the tight end. Looking at the college game here, the Cotton Bowl between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Texas Longhorns, I'm looking for the Buckeyes to come out so strong in this one. If we know one thing, we know this team, ever since playing Michigan, has stepped it up another level. Will Howard has looked like he's coming out with so much confidence, even though they came off that loss versus Michigan, like they're playing more freely out there on the field now. Will Howard, Chip Kelly will be getting him to get that ball to Jeremiah Smith, and I think that is the recipe for success out here. Jeremiah Smith is probably one of the best wide receivers that we are seeing right now in the country, and I do think he can come out nice and strong in this. Now, you can look at him a couple of ways. I'm staying off his receptions in this one, Tom, because he will be covered out there by Barron. He will have the height and the size is higher for him out here than Barron, but I do look at Barron to really cause some troubles out there for Jeremiah Smith. So when I look at Jeremiah Smith, I love him to get in that end zone. He's got 14 touchdowns on the season, so I will take him higher than a receiving touchdown out there, Tom.
Yeah, it always makes sense. Receptions can always be like, you need to see a lot of targets to get over receptions, but just getting one touchdown is absolutely far easier than getting, 4, 5, 6 receptions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it should be a great day out there on the football field tomorrow and this weekend. So make sure you come back and join us tomorrow for another Sports Millions Picks.
All right, good stuff. Thanks so much. Game Time Decisions getting ready for plenty this week. Of course, tonight at the Orange Bowl, we get Notre Dame and Penn State. Interesting story has been breaking over the last couple of hours or so. Apparently, a flu bug has been making its way around the Notre Dame locker room. Reports are that it's been in the locker room and around the team over the last couple of weeks, or at least the 10 days or so. Notre Dame did release a statement saying that it's been isolated to a handful of guys, a lot of special teamers. But it will have no effect on anybody not playing that would normally play here. But again, it's never a good sign here when you've got a flu bug running around the locker room there. And that's apparently what Notre Dame has been dealing with. This line continues to hover right around -1, 1.5. It'll be interesting to see over the next hour before we leave you and before we get ready for kickoff. Will there be any more movement? Will this actually get to a pick'em? Or will we start to see a ton of Notre Dame money come into the marketplace and maybe push this line back up to 2, where it was for a couple of days this week? So one thing I did notice is we're starting to see an awful lot of over money hit the marketplace, starting to see 46 popping up. I don't agree with that, but we'll have much more on that game. Plus, We'll get back to talking some NHL hockey here tonight as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Jimmy Butler wants to leave because Jimmy Butler knows that Riles isn't going to pay him, and he wants to get paid. Simply put, if they would have given Jimmy Butler this contract extension in the summer when he asked, this wouldn't be happening. But Riles did it, and Riles wanted him to play. So now he's disgruntled because he wants out.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. Just 3 games left in this historic college football season. Thursday, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is definitely one of the top teams in the nation.
Clash with Penn State. Friday, Ohio State looks to slow down the Horns, with the Buckeyes favored to top Texas.
You know what I see? 2 similar plays. Jackpot. Cherry.
I'm nimble for a big man.
Follow along for every play and every bet with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. A bit of a line movement that we're seeing coming up for the Orange Bowl at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami as we have a line flip as the Penn State Nittany Lions appear to be now a 1-point favorite for this game after being an underdog for most of the week. We saw this line as high as 2.5 for Notre Dame being the favorite, but we welcome back in our good friend Joe Madden. And Joe, it would appear that the story about the flu running throughout the locker room of Notre Dame and Notre Dame releasing a statement might have spooked the bettors here who are running to the window to back Penn State, who for the first time is now a favorite in this game. -1s I'm seeing. And of course, the total we talked about is also starting to creep up there with 46 being in the marketplace. That's an interesting turn of events.
Yeah, it's really interesting turn of events, and especially because we've seen that first half total, Joe, drop. It was 23.5 when I got it to the under. Now 22.5 to the under for that first half. So I can't wait for this game to kick off. I think we've got a super competitive game. I really do think it stays under that total unless we see overtime in this. Overtime bet isn't a bad look. We know both of these teams defensively are going to come out so nice and strong in this. Both are looking to establish that run game. It's going to come down to which quarterback doesn't make those errors out there on the field, and it's going to be a tight battle, Joe.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one here. I still like the under, and I'm with you. I thought Penn State might have a leg up to begin with, but now they are laying a point here, and we'll see if there's any more movement before we get to kickoff in just about an hour from now. Joe, we talked some NHL hockey, some great games here tonight. I want to talk about some of these happening out on the West Coast here. But first, I want to get your thoughts on the Rangers and how hilarious it is that they're actually a plus money dog at the Garden here tonight, taking on the Devils. It looks like the Rangers alternate wins and losses. That seems to be their thing now. Did they lose the last game? So does that mean they win this one, Joe? What are we looking at?
They're off that loss versus the Dallas Stars. Overtime loss 5-4 in their last game out. And we look at the New Jersey Devils. They're off that win versus the Kraken. Jacob Markstrom, we know, will be in net for them, and he has very solid numbers versus the New York Rangers. Now, I was expecting Jonathan Quick, but to Rangers fans' surprise, we will see Igor Shesterkin back out there on the ice, and I think this is welcoming him back. But I really did want to see Quick in this situation because we look at Quick versus the Devils and outstanding numbers versus them. I think it's a poor spot to put Igor back in goal, and I guess he's ready. He's ready to come out and show what he has. So I'm counting on him to be 100% ready between the pipes. And Joe, I'm going to look at the under. The under is 6.5. You're still going to have to lay juice. I was hoping this line might have moved a little bit in either direction with Igor coming back in, but the books haven't moved it. Still a minus 128 here for the Devils and the Rangers to go under that total. Now, when we look at the Rangers, yes, they've been alternating these wins or losses, but they've lost their last 6 as a dog. We look at this Devils team. They have so many playmakers out there. They have to come out. They have to come in strong into the Garden. Battle here of the Metro, and I lean towards the Devils to get it done.
Yeah, poor Rangers, man. Ranger fans have been going through it here, Joe, that's for sure. Talk to me here about another interesting game tonight between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Carolina Hurricanes here as the Maple Leafs continue to roll here. I think they've won 5 straight, but if my math is correct, they have been outshot in every one of those games, Joe. I mean, at some point, it's got to catch up with them, no?
Yeah, it really does have to catch up with them. They need to come out here really strong and lock down defensively. Give the support to Joseph Wall tonight because we know Carolina, another one of those teams, loves to alternate those wins and losses. They're coming off that loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning out there on the road. Their inconsistencies this season has really been on the road. This team at home, though, has been outstanding, but they're 15-5. We've seen the majority of those 5 losses at home come as of late. So I'm looking for a strong effort out of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they can come out strong in the first period. They've won their last 5. They have that confidence. And I would look at them first period money line. You're getting great value on the first period money line at plus 250. But where I think the best way to go, Joe, is probably just looking at that under. We got a total of 5.5. Toronto absolutely knows they can't get into any kind of pond hockey here with the Carolina Hurricanes. Both of these teams want to play that strong a defensive battle out there on the ice. And for the Canes coming off a loss, this is where you see that lockdown. So look for this one to stay under the 5.5. But I absolutely love the value of Toronto to get up first in that first period at plus 250. I can't say no when you've seen the Carolina Hurricanes lose their last 4 as a favorite in the first period.
So we have another interesting one here tonight with St. Louis at home taking on the Ducks. It seems like St. Louis consistently 4 goals, 4 goals, 4 goals. It hasn't been enough, obviously, the last couple of games as they lost to Minnesota and Columbus. But you keep scoring 4 goals here. Are we looking at an over or are we looking at an under? What do we think we're going to get here?
Well, you know, they could come out and put up 4 goals, and the Anaheim Ducks putting up 1 here on Joel Hofer. So it's an under, Joe, for me. I look at what Dostal has been able to do in net for the Anaheim Ducks, and he has been phenomenally strong. My last play on the Ducks was versus the Calgary Flames, and I expected Dostal in. We ended up getting John Gibson, so those goals came in that loss in overtime for the Ducks. But I'm looking for Dostal to really stand tall. I'm looking for him to make it hard for the St. Louis Blues to put up those 4 goals. So it's, again, another under in this one, but I think the St. Louis Blues get the win in regulation. You're looking at a win in regulation here for the Blues at minus 120. I just can't see the Ducks pushing this one to overtime like they did in that last battle versus Calgary.
Well, it's interesting, this Colorado-Minnesota game, very fun here. I'm trying to figure out how Colorado lost to Chicago, but that's a different story there, especially after they waxed my Florida Panthers. But Minnesota riding 4 of the last 5 they've won, and I do believe, what are they? They're getting plus money in this one? I mean, what are we doing this?
Oh, yeah. So Colorado was in a clear look ahead, and it's one of the sports most likely to have those look ahead situations is out there on the ice, Joe. You saw Colorado team having Minnesota today. Chicago last night was a game that they really didn't care about, especially when they had the Jets on Saturday and they came off that game versus Florida. So those sandwich spots, as people like to call it, are classic in hockey, and that's what Colorado was in last night. Now, coming in here to Minnesota, they have won the last 4 meetings versus the Minnesota Wild, but I look at this with those tired legs. You've got the Minnesota Wild here winning their last 4. They're off the 6-4 win versus the St. Louis Blues. I trust in Gustafsson. Now, Blackwood is so strong in net for Colorado as well, but I'm looking at Gustafsson with the Colorado Avalanche on the second night of a back-to-back. I do think the advantage goes to the Minnesota Wild, even though they've struggled to beat Colorado in the past. So give me the Minnesota Wild without Kaprizov on the ice. I know it's a scary situation, but I have to go there.
Yep, like that. And for our good friend George Kurtz here, let's just call it the Islanders lose tonight, right? Against Vegas. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think we get a shutout here. I'm looking for Adin Hill to play so strong. Sorry, George. I know he's not happy with me saying that, but you know, you look at this Isles team, Joe, they can't score and they're having these struggles. They're off that loss to Boston. They were able to put up the goals, but we know Boston hasn't been providing that defense. Goaltending has been weak. And you look at Vegas at home here in the Fortress. They've won their last 3, one off road game versus the Sharks in their last one. And Adin Hill, I just love what he's able to do. Adin Hill versus the Isles, Joe. You ready for this? He's won the 2 games. He's got a 1.49 goals against average and a 955 save percentage. So give me the Vegas here to win it nice and clearly, and the shutout here for Adin Hill.
Good stuff, Joe Madden. As always, we appreciate the time. We've got much more coming up, though, as Game Time Decisions continues here on the grid.
Jimmy Butler wants to leave because Jimmy Butler knows that Riles isn't going to pay him, and he wants to get paid. Simply put, if they would have given Jimmy Butler this contract extension in the summer when he asked, this wouldn't be happening. But Riles did it, and Riles wanted him to play. So now he's disgruntled because he wants out.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. Just 3 games left in this historic college football season. Thursday, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is definitely one of the top teams in the nation.
Clash with Penn State. Friday, Ohio State looks to slow down the Horns, with the Buckeyes favored to top Texas.
You know what I see? 2 similar plays. Jackpot. Cherry. I'm nimble for a big man.
Follow along for every play and every bet with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in here. Game Time Decisions on the SportsGrid Network as we get ready for the Orange Bowl as T-minus about 45 minutes or so as Penn State Can they and their coach, James Franklin, finally get over that stigma of not being able to beat top 5 teams, the better teams in the country? Well, I can tell you right now, the market seems to be hammering the Penn State Nittany Lions as they have flipped to a favorite now. -1, we're starting to see the total, crazy enough, started to hit 46s in the marketplace. And that appears to be where the line is drawn in the sand, because it gets to 46 and then all of a sudden it gets bought back down to 45.5, which is probably where we're going to land. This is going to be an interesting one here tonight. And the guy that I spent all college football season long with on Saturdays, breaking these games down, stopping by here is Cam Stewart. Ready, Cam? We're that much closer to figuring out who's going to be in this national championship game. And are you shocked that Penn State has now flipped to I mean, they've been a dog the entire week, and now they're starting to see a ton of money come in here.
I got to tell you, Joe, first of all, I heard you had a good time at the TGL, Go Bay Golf Club. I heard you had a few cocktails down there. First golf bet of the year. Wish they were that easy. Anyway, Joe, yeah, I'm really surprised, to be honest with you. I thought, even a pick 'em, but the fact that it's gone 1-1, Notre Dame -1, Penn State -1, and I actually thought the total might go down to like a smooth 45. Like, I'm on the under. I might be wrong. I expect this game to be a rock fight. Notre Dame got their points against Georgia. We were on the under in that game, pal. And, it was just special teams. It didn't get there. So I got to believe defense reigns true, Joe. And I just don't like the way Notre Dame moves the ball, Riley Leonard, and their defense is elite. I see a lot of punting. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is going to be a very, very close game. I lean Notre Dame, and I'm really surprised that the line flipped, to be honest with you, Joe. And I guess people like what they saw. The SMU game, SMU basically gave that game away with turnovers. And to be honest with you, I look at Penn State and Boise State, their opportunities. They were there in that game. They should have covered, but they made some mistakes. So I was more impressed with what I saw from the Notre Dame defense. The question is, can Riley Leonard, move the sticks, be effective with his legs, and can that Notre Dame defense stop Aller and Penn State? I think they can, Joe. So my favorite play in the game is the under. And now that Notre Dame's flipped, I could do a teaser and get these guys, if you want to do a 7-pointer, to 8 or 6.5 plus 7.5 under 52.5, Joe. Like, why not? Like, that's kind of the way I look at it. I'm going to take taking Notre Dame the under, and I'm going to tease them to the under as well.
You got me. Now you got me thinking here, Cam, because I did like Penn State getting 2, and now it looks like Penn State laying 1. You're right. I still think it's going to be a 1-score game, Cam, and I think that's where the value lies, where this is going to come down to 1 score. Now, I could also see that the story that broke a couple hours ago about the flu bug hitting Notre Dame's locker room hard, Notre Dame had to release a statement saying that it was contained to only some special teams guys. None of the starters are affected, but all of us, it's not like they have endless amount of kids here. So depth could be a problem with Notre Dame in this game. Not to mention, Cam, we saw it. They got a 2-day lack of, Penn State got a 2-day head start. They got 2 extra days of rest to prepare because the game was canceled and pushed back until that Monday. So not a great situation for Notre Dame. Apparently the market's reacting to it, because if the flu bug is really rolling around, there is absolutely no way you can't tell me a starter on one side of the ball or other might not be feeling well.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. But I remember these reports before with COVID and whatever, and the team had so many guys missing, and then they end up winning the game outright. It's like 15-point dogs. So I'll take these reports with a grain of salt. I'll do my own, betting and research and whatever, and I'll tell you, I just expect a tight game, Joe. Just like you. I see it as a 1-possession game. I think it's going to be very tight. I think both sides actually probably middle it if you do like teasers. And I will say this, Joe, the second game we could talk about, that's where I'm thinking, like, we watched that Rose Bowl. We were on the air. And now you're getting Texas at 6. Everyone's going, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State. I'll tell you one thing that we know about sports. Getting slapped around or getting scared could be the best thing for you. This is what happens with Texas versus Arizona State. And I remember, I talked to Gabe about this on our show with the NCAA basketball tournament. Now kind of a mini bracket tournament. You get that scare, and then you come in to play the next game. And that's kind of what I'm thinking with Texas. I think they hang in this game. This game, I see points. I see this game going over, and I'm going to take the 6. Joe, on one of my books, I could do a super 4-game, 13-point teaser.
Ooh.
I basically took every side. Every single side in the game. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting Texas at plus 19. I'm getting Ohio State at 7. And Notre Dame at both double digits with them. I did it, and I smashed it, and if both games stay reasonable. Do you really think Ohio State can beat these guys by 20? I don't. I don't think it's going to be an Oregon game. And I'll tell you one thing about Texas. Their defense is better than the Ducks. I think they'll be prepared. I think they're going to have a better script, and they're going to try to minimize things. Remember, they played well. It's a new season for them. They had momentum. It's kind of, Joe, baseball. Remember when those teams, they get a little bit of a break, feeling good about themselves, and then bam, and then the other team comes back. I think Texas is in a good spot here tonight. I think Ohio State, if they win, Joe, it's literally a 3 or 4 point win. I think this game is going to be tight. I think both games are, to be honest with you.
Wouldn't shock me if Texas has the lead in the first half at all, given that propensity to do so. But you and we also watched a lot of Ohio State explode in the second half of games. So it wouldn't shock me if we get that kind of scenario where Sarkisian comes out, they figure out a way to have the lead, and then all of a sudden Ohio State finally puts it together in the second half and comes back and wins the game. Either way, I think there's going to be great middling opportunities in both of these games coming up, especially starting tonight. We got NFL tomorrow, Cam. I do want to get your thoughts on a couple of these games that are coming up, namely, if I hear one more person tell me don't sleep on Denver, I'm going to throw up, Cam. I know. Get your thoughts on that one. I
already
want to hear
the Broncos at the start of the week. I am scared. I might come back with Buffalo. They're the biggest public dog I've ever seen in my life, and I am scared, and I'm ready to buy back on Buffalo.
That's what I'm talking about. GameTime Decisions continues.
Jimmy Butler wants to leave because Jimmy Butler knows that Riles isn't going to pay him, and he wants to get paid. Simply put, if they would have given Jimmy Butler this contract extension in the summer when he asked, this wouldn't be happening. But Riles did it, and Riles wanted him to play. So now he's disgruntled because he wants out.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. Just 3 games left in this historic college football
and I know
season.
That I'm setting myself
Thursday,
up
Notre
for
Dame.
probably disappointment later tonight. But I hope you were with us last week on the Final 5 because we almost swept the board. We had 2 out of 3 on the power play points with Reinhardt and Matthews. We hit the goal scorer line A. We hit the side with Washington. We hit the total with the over in Toronto and Buffalo. So we had a really good Final 5 last week. And I'm hoping that we can now ride that wave.
Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. A very special edition as we welcome back in our good friend Cam Stewart. getting ready for the Orange Bowl here. T-minus about 35 minutes or so with Penn State and Notre Dame. We also have wild card weekend almost upon us here in the NFL. And Cam, some interesting trends that we're starting to see emerge in the marketplace. And I had mentioned to you that I have never seen a public dog quite like everyone jumping all over the Denver Broncos here at 8.5. I'm not sure what they're expecting the Bills. They do realize, like, the Bills have been here and done this before, and Denver and Bo Nix are not going to be the team that goes into Orchard Park and beats them. I don't know what the fascination, because I think this game's a blowout, Cam. What am I missing?
You're not missing much, Joe. And I bet Denver earlier on in the week, and that's the problem when you do these games early. Like, you know what I mean? And we're putting these videos out, and I'm like, I tell the guy, I go, can we do these on Wednesday or Thursday? Like Monday? Like, my mind's racing. But we had Bovey on last night with Morency on Rage Late Night, and we kind of like the over in the game. Like, I originally bet Denver, but don't you see points, Joe? Like, I was thinking in this game, like Buffalo themselves, I don't care. Denver has a good D, whatever. Allen's going to be running. He's going to be going wild. I still think Bo Nix and Denver can get theirs. So I kind of think like we got like a 35-24 type of game. I see points in this point. The weather in Western New York is going to be good. 5-mile-an-hour winds, which is nothing. No snow. 10% chance of precipitation. That's beautiful weather. 32 degrees. Basically, it's like nothing. It's even. It's fine. It's not like it's minus 15 or something crazy. No ice bowl, Joe. So the surface should be fine. I expect some speed. I think one of my favorite props in the game, Joe, I just did a couple shows today. Bo Nix over rushing attempt 5.5 and his over rushing 22.5. He's going to be running all over the place, especially like every drive. Like, I actually thought, I think he could run like 12 to 14 times, like 5.5 rushing attempts. I think he's going to be running for his life every drive. And, you know, a lot of people, Mims has put money in people's pockets for Denver, but I kind of like McLaughlin. I think he's going to be that guy for Denver. He's that one running back. If you look, Joe, he's trending upwards with carries, 10, 13, like everything is a ladder up. His receiving is 1.5, very, very low. So he's the one guy from Denver. I know the Mims train might come to an end, but McLaughlin's my guy for Denver. And I don't know, Josh Allen can get his rushing total with one big gallop down. I know they're going to have a spy, but it doesn't matter. He's like a thoroughbred at the Kentucky Derby. You give this guy some space, he's absolutely gone. And you really think anybody wants to tackle him when he's in full speed, Joe? A lot of quarterback props. I don't know if you feel the same way. It's a one or done. Like guys like Herbert, Allen, Baker Mayfield for that matter. Matt Stafford's rushing is a half yard. He can get that leaning forward. Like a lot of these rushing quarterback guys, I'm going to be taking overs in this week, and hopefully that's the right strategy. But you're on to something, Joe. I don't know. I haven't met one person that loves Buffalo other than Morency probably. And like I like Denver all week, and now I'm starting to think, what the hell am I thinking? I'm just going to take the over in this game, and I might buy out and tease Buffalo to the over, just so I have another part of that bet.
I've talked to a couple of odds makers in Vegas, Cam, and they need the Houston Texans in a big way because everybody is betting the Chargers, and that worries me as well. The public loves the Chargers. Everybody, they need Houston for a big money day for the books here. I don't know if I can't get there on Houston, but boy, oh boy, there are far too many people on the Chargers for my liking.
It's unbelievable. And a lot of people on Baltimore are the same, Joe. I don't know anybody that's making a case for Pittsburgh. They're a divisional rival getting 10 now. So I don't know. This week could be very difficult, but I'm kind of, I lean Chargers, but the Texans are kind of being disrespected. If you like, I talked to Brady Cannon, Joe, when he was on the show last night too. And we were talking about teasers, and it's the smart way to go this week. These numbers are sharp. These books don't give away money. These guys have been working at this stuff all year. Now you have the playoffs. It's one of those things. I don't care. I just want winning bets. And if we have to put teasers together, we will, because I think jacking these like small dogs up, getting them over a touchdown is really, really important. I kind of lean under in that game, Joe. I think the Chargers defense and the you know Harbaugh too. He wants to like just run the ball, tick, 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 slow these games down. And the other under I'm liking is the Eagles Packers with all the injuries and stuff. I don't see a lot of points in that game. I actually like it for the first time, Joe. You know me, I'm a sides man. Like I love my chicken and sides, but I'm literally a total man. 12 bowls of total this week, like the old commercial. I like the totals more than the sides. because I think they're a little easier to predict, but we'll see. Tough card, Joe. Very tough.
I agree. I'm still trying to figure out who in their right mind wants to sweat an under in Tampa and Washington. Not me. No, not me. Cam Stewart. Always a pleasure, brother. More Game Time Decisions continues.
Just 3 games left in this historic college football season. Thursday, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is definitely one of the top teams in the nation.
Clash with Penn State. Friday, Ohio State looks to slow down the Horns, with the Buckeyes favored to top Texas.
You know what I see? 2 similar plays. Jackpot, cherry. I'm nimble for a big man.
Follow along for every play and every bet with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Statement from Giants president John Mara. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll will continue in their respective roles with the organization. As disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve Tisch and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented.
The Giants, an absolute train wreck, and I love it.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This was a team that you should have dominated. You've now lost 4 straight. You're heading into the playoffs and you're searching for answers, not just in terms of your offensive line, but your quarterback now.
I just don't see this team peaking at the right time. It was almost like we were anointing Mike Tomlin as the best coach in the NFL 12 or 13 weeks in. Then once they got to the real competition and the attrition started to settle in, it's just not a good football team.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America. And I'm not just talking football. I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome in Game Time Decisions, a very special edition here tonight as we are getting set for the semifinal, the first of 2 semifinals here in the college football playoffs. We've got the Orange Bowl in full view here tonight. Coming up, bottom of the hour, we'll go ahead and pass the baton here to the guys on College Football Today who, without a doubt, looking very forward to this game that has seen, the line flip right now as Penn State is your favorite after being an underdog since the line opened up. There are some reports, if you're just joining us, that Notre Dame dealing with a flu issue inside the locker room. There has been nothing but Penn State money rolling in here. They are now a 1-point favorite. So a lot still to be determined in that game. We'll talk more about it. Of course, we've got wild card weekend coming up in the NFL, and we've got our good friend Brady Cannon stepping in here as we get ready for what should be a great night. Brady, in college football, should be a great weekend in the NFL. And we talked to you last night with the Sony Open in Hawaii underway. What do we see here early on as they'll be playing golf till midnight on the East Coast here? What are we seeing so far, Brady?
Yeah, you got to love it. The Hawaii game, right? Another version here, golf's version of the Hawaii game. You were talking with Cam Stewart about Harry Hall. He's sitting tight with his fingers crossed, trying to root home a first-round leader. I hope he goes wire to wire. I've got a ticket on him to win it outright at 50-1. So good luck there to both Cam and what worries me, though, is Hall was red hot with the putter today. Right now, currently second in this field in strokes gained putting, and he was kind of erratic everywhere else. So that worries me when, you're not necessarily at your best, but you're just kind of hanging on with a hot putter. We'll see how he does on Friday. I wouldn't necessarily run to the window to bet him to win the whole thing at this point. Even though he looks good as far as the scoreboard, the game, if you look at the numbers, may be a little shaky. Denny McCarthy also right there tied for the lead. He was shaky off the tee, but really good on approach. So that's okay. As long as the irons are looking good, he can clean up that game off the tee. Thomas Dietrich, another guy that I'm on pre-tournament, he's come down to 65-1, shot 3 under. Been really solid all the way around in this first round, except he also was a little bit shaky off the tee, and I'm okay with that. You can clean that up really overnight if you're a good driver of the golf ball. If the irons are holding up, the putting is the thing that is most volatile. The rest of the areas you can typically find your form more quickly. Eric Cole, another guy at the top of the leaderboard, was really solid all the way around. He is maybe a guy you want to take a look at. Played well here last year. He's at 60-1. And then some guys that are still out on the course, Joe, Lee Hodges, Cam Davis, Nick Taylor, all at 2 under par early in their round. They're going okay. Hodges at 60-1. Davis at 25. He's a guy I'm on pre-tournament. Nick Taylor at 45-1. And then Tom Hoagie, another guy that I'm on pre-tournament. He's out to a 1 under start through just a handful of holes. And another guy I looked at this week, still trading at 80-1, out to a 1 under par start, relative unknown, Mac Meisner. Maybe you want to play him for a top 20 finish or something like that, but he's off to a good start. And he was a guy that certainly came across my radar earlier in the week. Didn't end up landing on him, but it's not surprising to see him off to a good start here on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, a lot of golf still to be played there. The Matsuyama, who just won the Century 35, 36 under, whatever it was, I think he just teed off over the last hour or so. I'm seeing him, 1 under through 5 or 6 holes. So plenty of golf left to go with him. He's trying to sweep the Hawaii Tour. I don't know if that's ever been done before.
Yeah, it actually has. The last guy to do it was Justin Thomas in 2017. Oh. And it's interesting that you bring that up because it was 2017 when Justin Thomas went on later that year at Quail Hollow to win the PGA Championship. In fact, Hideki Matsuyama was the 36-hole leader that year at the PGA. That was JT's first major. But I think it can be a harbinger of things to come for the guys that win at Kapalua. And obviously a back-to-back is even a bigger deal. But I already played Matsuyama, and I played last week's runner-up, Colin Morikawa. I played both of them to win the Masters. Now, there's a huge correlation between Kapalua and Augusta. Hideki's won the Masters before. A number of guys we've seen either do well or have success at Augusta have done the same thing at Kapalua. Big connection there. And we've seen Colin Morikawa play tremendous at Augusta. Finished 3rd last year. So I got them at good numbers before. I bet them before, Sunday's final round last week when the numbers were still pretty decent. I got Morikawa at 22-1 and Matsuyama at 25 to win the Masters. And I think you still might be able to find some of that. I've seen it also come down in other shops down to like 18-1. So shop around, but I don't think those are bad bets to slip on a green jacket this year.
No, not at all. I think plenty of golf here this weekend, again in Hawaii, which gives us a couple extra hours here to wrap our head around what's going on. We've had a couple of extra hours now to wrap our head around this week, wild card weekend coming up. Talk to, and you know this, Brady, talk to a few of the bookmakers in your neck of the woods, and every one of them needs the Chargers, which is, needs the Houston Texans over the Chargers, which tells me there's an awful lot of love for the Chargers in this game, which worries me a little bit.
Yeah, it worries me as well because I kind of like the Chargers side. When I crunch all my numbers, I come out to the Chargers as about a 4.5-point favorite. And I'm pretty darn well aware, and you back it up right there, reinforce it, that I believe Houston is the sharp side. I just can't really get there. I don't want to lay the 3. I played the Chargers on a teaser, and I think it's a teaser time of year, Joe. You know these lines are really sharp at this point in the season, and it's hard to find an edge just playing the standard line. But when those lines are so sharp, if you tweak it by 6, 7, 10 points, I think you're really getting a good value. Teaser season in the Cannon House, and I teased the Chargers to both 4.5 and 7. 4.5 on a 7-point teaser, and then 7 on a 10-point teaser, and used them with a couple of other things. The Ravens. I think you can go either way with a teaser on the Rams and the Vikings, by the way, up to 7, 7.5. As long as you're getting it to the other side of 7, take your pick with wherever that line moves.
And it's interesting, Brady, because they might, there's talks about moving that game because of the devastating fires in Southern Cal, but they're talking about moving it to Glendale where the Arizona Cardinals play. Still indoors. I don't know that it changes my handicap as long as it's indoors on a fast track.
I'm with you 100%, Joe. And obviously the Los Angeles Rams, as a division opponent, they're very familiar with playing in that stadium. It might even be more of an advantage for the Rams because we know there's not a huge home field advantage at SoFi. But I think pretty much all things are equal. We haven't seen the number move, and I think it's probably status quo moving to that other stadium.
Should be a fun week, that is for sure. Brady Cannon, we'll talk to you again, of course, tomorrow here on Game Time Decisions. We got plenty more going on across the sports betting landscape, but looking forward to this golf tournament here and talking more with you. Game Time Decisions, we'll be back after this.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards.
That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in here. Game Time Decisions on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri as we getting ready for the kickoff here coming up in, about 16 minutes or so at the Orange Bowl. We'll pass the baton off, of course, Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh. They'll take over here for you guys and get you everything you need to know about that upcoming battle between Penn State and Notre Dame, a trip to play for a national championship on the line in Miami here tonight. So currently still seeing Penn State as the favorite, total, well, right around that 45.5. So should be a good one. Should also be a heck of a wild card weekend. We welcome in our good friend Tom Vecchio here, who no doubt has a couple of very interesting props and games that he's looking at here. And I got to ask you, Tom, inevitably it ain't going to be all chalk. We know that. Inevitably there's going to be an upset somewhere along the line. I have a very hard time getting to an upset with a rookie quarterback. I just don't see Bo Nix doing it. I don't see, and I love Daniels in Washington, but I think experience matters this time of year here. Where do you sit with these rookies here going into their first playoffs?
Well, you said experience, it matters, and it plays a big part. We've seen Baker in the playoffs, granted varying degrees of success. We've seen a lot of these quarterbacks with varying degrees of success with Herbert. We know all like the collapse and all these sorts of things, but like that's the building thing that like you need that thing to stumble and then you learn from that, and especially with Harbaugh there for LA. I expect the Chargers come away with that win. I do like the Rams. They still are plus 1.5. So I guess that's not the chalk. I would like them, come away with the win. I also have a small ticket on them to win the conference, and that's not really expecting them to win the conference. Obviously, the Eagles and the Lions are much better than them. But if the Eagles and the Lions, or I should say, if the Eagles take care of business and we do see the Rams come away with the win, those two teams ahead of them in terms of the conference odds, those teams are eliminated, and just gives me a good Rams ticket to have. The Lions are better than them, but I just want that ticket to start.
We just heard, I know that Jalen Hurts, full participant at practice here today. We're starting to see the Philadelphia money come in. I'm seeing fives across the board here now. The total hovering around the 45.5. If we're being honest, I liked Philadelphia with or without him. How do you approach this game with the Eagles and Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, so both teams like to run the ball. So I'm not expecting a whole lot of scoring. I know there's supposed to be some weather there on Saturday, if it carries over wherever, some amount into Sunday. But both teams like to run the ball. Hurts, let's call it not 100%. He may play, but he's not 100% leading into this. So I'm not expecting a ton on the air. This is a Saquon Barkley game for the Eagles, and Josh Jacobs is going to be seeing his normal role for Green Bay. So I actually like A.J. Brown under 87.5 receiving yards. We're going to see them get out and run the ball, and that's what the Eagles and the Packers both like to do. So just going to bleed the clock. And again, we have a balanced offense with the Eagles. Obviously, Smith is going to be involved. They got Dallas Goedert back a couple weeks ago, Grant Calcaterra, Kenny Gainwell coming out of backfield. Like, there's too many options for just to see A.J. Brown go to 90 or 100 yards. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think it's going to be one on the ground. That is for sure. And I think Josh Jacobs and as well as Saquon are going to have interesting roles in that game. We're seeing continued money come in here on Baltimore. Nobody seems to be scared of the almost double digit, but it's Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Like, what are we expecting here, Tom?
I want to say under. I think that's the right way to approach this game. Like, division rivals going at it for third time. I think the under would be the right play. My fear is that the Ravens do 75% of the work. Like, they could go out and drop 28 some odd points. If they win 28-17, I think that's a reasonable win for them. I don't think that would surprise people, but like, we're pushing over or 30-17. Like, it'd be a tough spot because the Steelers aren't able to score, but the Ravens are so amazing on offense. So I want to say under. I'm hesitant to get there. I do specifically like, though, Pat Freiermuth under 4.5 receptions. That line has moved moved a little bit. It was at minus 114. It's now minus 135 on the under. So I like that. The route for the Steelers winning this game is not turning it into a shootout with the Ravens. They can't go punch for punch for them on offense. So that means we have to see Najee Harris involved for the Steelers. And then ultimately, when the Steelers do pass the ball, George Pickens is the answer for them in the passing offense. They have to get him involved, considering how bad their offense has been really over the past month or so. Granted, he's missed a few games. So running the ball keeps them close in this game, but when they do pass it should be going to Pickens. Pat Freiermuth will have his catches, but him having 5, 6, 7 catches as he's had in the past few weeks is just not a path for the Steelers.
So we got two of the higher totals of the weekend, right? I mean, Washington, Tampa, 50.5 in Tampa. It feels like that game is made for props and touchdown props, over props. I mean, who are the go-to guys? It just feels like automatic Evans over. I mean, who are we looking at in a game like this?
For me, it's always Bucky Irving. Just the role he has played as a rookie has been sensational for Tampa. So some type of Bucky Irving rushing plus receiving, that's where I'll like it. They get Rachaad White involved in the passing game. These screenplays are just essentially extensions of the running game for this team. And then it has to be Terry McLaurin or Zach Ertz on the other side. I really don't expect Brian Robinson to have a big game on the ground, as we have seen the Tampa run defense actually steadily improve as the season goes on. So it has to be Daniels, has to be him getting the ball in the air. That's why I think at least Tampa keeps it close. I do expect the Bucs to come away with the win, though.
Yeah, I do too as well. And for the Denver-Buffalo game, I see a lot of love for Mims in the prop market here. A lot of folks expecting big things from Marvin Mims. Who would you focus on in this matchup?
From Monday, from the jump, when I was on the early line, Monday morning at 10:30, I said Bo Nix passing attempts, over on passing attempts. It was 34.5. It's up to 35.5. When it comes down to it, Denver can't run the ball. It was showed this in the last week of the regular season. They won, 38-0. They won the game wire to wire. Bo Nix led the team in rushing. They didn't have a single running back get to 50 yards when you are leading the entire game. They cannot run the ball. So when they're 8.5 or 9-point underdogs, whatever it closes at, we're just going to see the ball in Bo Nix's hands with him getting it down the field because they just don't have a running game.
Yeah, no, and you got to figure, I mean, Josh Allen, anytime touchdown, it feels like it should just be automatic at home in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go with that. And then one quick NHL prop. I know we're coming up against the break. Cale McCullough on the Avalanche, over 3.5 shots on goal tonight.
Against Minnesota. Love it. Tom Vecchio, a pleasure as always, my man. We'll break it down. Game time decisions. We'll wrap it up next here on the Grid.
Just 3 games left in this historic college football season. Thursday, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is definitely one of the top teams in the nation.
Clash with Penn State. Friday, Ohio State looks to slow down the Horns, with the Buckeyes favored to top Texas.
You know what I see? 2 similar plays? Jackpot, cherry.
Follow along for every play and every bet with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Statement from Giants president John Mara. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll will continue in their respective roles with the organization. As disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve Tisch and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented.
The Giants, an absolute train wreck, and I love it.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This was a team that you should have dominated. You've now lost 4 straight. You're heading into the playoffs and you're searching for answers, not just in terms of your offensive line, but your quarterback now.
I just don't see this team peaking at the right time. It was almost like we were anointing Mike Tomlin as the best coach in the NFL 12 or 13 weeks in. Then once they got to the real competition and the attrition started to settle in, it's just not a good football team.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Louis Riddick has interviewed for every job in North America, and I'm not just talking football, I'm talking about every business in North America of any kind whatsoever. Tire companies, grocery store CEOs, shopping malls, insurance companies. What job hasn't Louis Riddick interviewed for?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in here. Game Time Decisions as we are getting ready for the Orange Bowl in-game live straight ahead here. They'll take all the action for you when Notre Dame and Penn State get ready to do battle. But first, let's hear from our good friend Joe Madden with a little NHL Blitz'em.
Enjoy Sport Millions pick'ems, but hey, making picks yourself? Well, Sports Millions has you covered. Head on over to Sports Millions Blitz'em right now and let the computer do the work. Go to sportsmillions.com/Blitz'em to be able to win big prizes without having to make a single pick yourself. That's sportsmillions.com/Blitz'em.
All right, good stuff, Joe Madden. We appreciate it here as we are getting ready. One of these two teams here tonight will have an opportunity to play for a national championship. Will it be Notre Dame? Will it be Penn State? The Orange Bowl, the Hard Rock Stadium in the Orange Bowl here will decide this, as we've seen a late line flip over the last couple of hours. We have seen the money come pouring in on Penn State. They have switched and flipped to a favorite here tonight. That's right. Penn State, who for most of the week was getting 1.5, 2 points. They are now laying one right now. The total remains steadfast. 45.5 is what we're continuing to see. I think that is a good look, given the fact that I think the defenses are going to be the best units on that field here tonight. Reports of the flu bug running through the locker room of Notre Dame might have had something to do with the late line push towards Penn State. But the bottom line is this feels like a one-score game any which way you cut it. Low total, 45.5 in Miami. Weather is obviously not going to be any concern here tonight. But with these two defenses and the way these two teams like to run the ball, it should be a very close to the chest kind of game. And again, we've got two coaches in this game, one with Franklin, who has the reputation and has the stigma, and his narrative and legacy at this point right now is he can't win the big game. Period. He can't win the big game. He can't beat top 5 teams. He has no problem beating up on the teams that he's a big favorite on. But boy, oh boy, when it comes to the better teams, he's just not a guy that gets the job done. All of that will disappear if he is able to win this game tonight and head into an opportunity to win a national championship. And for Notre Dame, a lot of people believe Notre Dame has the edge as far as coaching goes into this game. But none of that is going to matter if Penn State wins this game. So either way, I think the committee is coming up looking like roses, given the fact that whether it is Notre Dame or whether it is Penn State who will play for a national championship, the committee wins. College football wins because these are clearly two blue blood college football programs that have far-reaching fan bases here that will make it one of the more attractive and probably one of the most watched college football national championship games that we have gotten in a very long time. And a lot of that has to do because tomorrow at the Cotton Bowl, you've got two more blue blood programs here that without a doubt will garner a ton of attention as Ohio State getting ready to take on Texas at the Cotton Bowl tomorrow. That line hovering still around 6. Ohio State, big favorite in a semifinal game for a chance to win a national championship. 2 head coaches who have been under fire, shall we say, by their respected fan bases here over the last couple of seasons. Who will finally break through and change the narrative on their legacy? Will it be Sarkisian? Will it be Ryan Day? Man, it's going to be a whole lot of fun to see it unfold. But straight ahead, we have got you covered as In-Game Live. Coming up here, Ben Stevens will be there. Joe Lisi will be there. Kevin Walsh will be there. The 3 of them will take it from the opening kickoff right through the post-game show. They'll even take a look ahead tomorrow to the Cotton Bowl. Game Time Decisions. We'll be back again tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Enjoy the game. Good luck. And we'll see you again soon.